I watched the memorial service in its entirety. I did have it sped up, obviously, because it was like 5 hours, but I did watch it in its entirety. Um, with the exception of like the end of Jack Posabik's speech, there's like a bunch of speakers, like 20, 30 speakers, maybe. Majority of the speakers, totally fine, totally reasonable, standard memorial service stuff you would talk about, that you'd hear about. Some people, I think some people gave this weird take where they said that they kind of said that they felt uncomfortable because a lot of the talk is about Christianity. And I'm like, I'm not Christian, but I understand that this guy was very Christian and he, was killed and it's a memorial service. Obviously, a lot of Christian talk is going to come up in the conversation. Like to me, the people that feel uncomfortable just people talking about their religion, even if they're government officials, is stupid, especially in this context. Like if they're
Yeah,
talking
I
about it in,
totally agree.
yeah, like if they're talking about it on the floor of Congress when they're passing legislation about how they need, God and the law, I'd agree with you. But at a fucking memorial service for a guy who was incredibly Christian, you should expect that talk. And I think it's weird I think it's stupid if people are like, oh, I don't like this. So most of the conversation, most of the memorial speeches people gave, totally fine. I didn't see really any problem with them. The only ones I saw kind of were like, oh, was, obviously Stephen Miller's was ridiculous, but he just seems weird. Like you just look into his face, he has that kind of that very vibe of like autistic evil person. I don't know what's up with it. I do. He would be. I think the Trump administration would be much better with he if he was just not included in it whatsoever.
What
So he
did you
gave a
not like about that's one of the few speeches that I listened to just because obviously everyone was talking about it. But
most of the people's speeches were focused heavily on remembering the good that Charlie Kirk did in the world and how their lives were positively impacted by Charlie Kirk. There, a lot of people would tell this is like a very classic thing. You see a memorial service. A lot of people would tell stories about how they were in some low point in their life, and Charlie Kirk would help them, would help, their family, help them get through the times and, be very inspirational or literally provide aid in the form of money or medicine or emotional support, all those other things, and how he was just trying to make the world a better place. And that was the focus of, I'd say, like 95% of people's speeches, which is good. What do you expect? Stephen Miller's conversation was focused almost primarily on the fact that they're enemies and forces of evil that we must destroy. And our ancestors built this country, and our country is being invaded by some nebulous group of people. And it was all just so like fight, 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 like evil, evil, evil. We must fight against some sort of great evil on the horizon without really naming or categorizing what this evil is, which kind of creates this like nebulous. Are we talking about foreigners? Are we talking about the left? Are we talking about Democrats? What exactly is going on here? And I just, to me, bringing in such negativity and hatred into a memorial service is not, that's not the place to have that conversation.
right, yeah. I mean, I agree. There is evil in the world that we must confront.
Right.
That the the
But
world
everyone
falls
disagrees
apart
on.
when good men stand down to evil.
Of course,
So
but everyone
I do think we
disagrees
need a little
on
bit
what
of
that,
that.
of course, but people disagree on what that evil is.
I,
And
but
I think
there
it should
are
be pretty
plenty of
clear.
places where people do agree what that evil is. So I'm not sure that it came out clearly in Stephen Miller's speech, obviously, but I do think there is evil in the world that we need to confront. So,
Okay. But so
oh,
anyway, and then I didn't like Jack Posabik's speech was fine till the end where he started bringing in the whole like putting God and Christianity into the government, which is like, whoa, you're fine till this part. A lot of people didn't like Tucker's speech because Tucker in the beginning of it has kind of this weird. He compares Charlie Kirk essentially to Jesus and how Jesus was killed and how the Pharisees plotted against him. And he kind of uses language where he's like, he's describing how there's a bunch of people sitting around eating hummus, plotting Jesus's death. People interpret this as kind of like, is Tucker Carlson making an allusion to Jews plotting to kill Charlie Kirk? I don't know if that was the intention of what Tucker Carlson said, because the rest of his speech I thought was surprisingly fine. He actually did bring up that we need to fight the kind of the demons within ourselves and get over some of the lower impulses in ourselves, which I was pleasantly surprised to hear Tucker Carlson bring up. So I kind of don't. I don't really know. I don't have a strong opinion on whether he was trying to dog whistle to the Jews killing Charlie Kirk or not. Um, and then that one part, I listened to all of Trump's speech. We played that one clip on Sunday. There's that one part that we played on Sunday, which I still think is really bad. But besides that one part, the rest of it wasn't really that bad.
Yeah, people
I don't
jump to
know.
that obviously because they
Right.
could characterize Trump as
My
being evil.
Well, it seems like he had the prepared speech, and then Trump always does this. He has kind of the prepared speech, and then he like throws in things off the top of his head, and it seems like that was something thrown in off the top of the head. And it's interesting. It hit me very differently that I saw in context. It actually hit me much worse because now that I was watching in order, I had watched Charlie Kirk's wife come up, and she gives a very emotional, powerful speech about her husband dying, and she does that part that everyone talks about where she's says that she forgives the killer, and she's like crying when she's saying it, and it's like really powerful, and it's like holy shit. And it kind of goes into what you always say about how there's like this power in terms of the Christian meme of forgiveness and how important and powerful that is to society. And then it's not great to then jump to then Trump saying his comment about hating his enemies. Sort of, it's not a good follow-up, I should say, to that speech.
Well,
um
the counterpoint on that is
mhm.
there are a lot of people out there who want retribution. And if those people feel they're not going to get any kind of retribution through legal means, they're not going to get justice from the state, which Trump to some extent represents the state at this point,
Mhm.
they might act on it themselves.
Yeah,
So I could
that's
see
right.
Trump doing that
Mhm.
as giving a little red meat to those people who might pick up a gun and go out and do something stupid themselves, which I think could be a good thing. So I
Yeah, I
think
think
that's
that's
the
a good point.
counterpoint.
I think that's a good point. But I would say that I think that is, I mean, Trump did talk about how this person is arrested and is going to face justice, including hopefully he said, God willing, the maximum punishment, meaning execution. I don't have a problem with him saying that. And I think that would satisfy that feeling without the I hate my enemies comment. There's always this sort of thin line between justice and vengeance that I think humans and human society has to straddle uncomfortably. And I would prefer if the president was on the side of justice instead of revenge. So I think he could have accomplished it without making that comment about hating his enemies. But whatever. So my whole point to even bring this up is I don't think it was really fair for people to who claim they watched the memorial service to say, oh, this was, some sort of Christian nationalist memorial service. I didn't get that impression whatsoever. I think those people either were looking at it through a very biased lens, or they probably more likely they just saw clips of the most incendiary things. They probably just saw clips of Stephen Miller and Jack Posobiec and Trump and Tucker, and that's all they saw. They didn't really see like the whole thing. So I don't think it was fair to characterize it as Christian nationalism. And I think Matt Walsh is doing a massive disservice to himself and the right broadly to lean into that. I assume he actually wants that. I mean, he's been, not so subtly in favor of those things for a while now. But so to me, is sort of just kind of playing the destiny of the right by making himself seem to be the extreme that the left will point to and say, aha, you're proving us right.
Yeah. So neither one of them are turning down the temperature, obviously.
Yeah.
Did you see the clip of Rashida Tlaib and Byron Donaldson on the congressional floor, like going at one another? Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. Most of the time we stream Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and we stream during the week. Come join us. You guys are going to love it. It'll be great.